Okay. Hi everyone, welcome to this week's masterclass. We are going to be going over a Sureshots guide today. So Sureshots Samira, we're also going to be talking about how to play Infiniteam. This on, I think patch 13.7 is one of the best compositions this patch. So if you're looking to climb, looking to top 4, then this is the guide for you. If you have any questions, if you have any big questions, please leave them for the end. But if you have any questions on the slide at hand, then just unmute or type in the text channel. I'll take a look and we can answer it from there. Okay, so Sureshots guide. It's going to be a fairly simple class today. We're just going to be talking about what Sureshots is, a quick intro to this trait and the units. Talk about the early game, mid game, and end game, so you know exactly how to play each stage of the game. And then talk about how to counter it, because you won't be the only one in the lobby playing it. Very popular, very strong comp, so you're going to have multiple players. So it's important to know if a lot of people in your lobby are going Sureshots, how to beat them. It's actually very easy. You'll see in a second. And then a final Q&A plus reflection to end it off. Okay, so a quick Sureshots intro. So why are Sureshots good all of a sudden? Why are we playing this? Well, basically there's been a ton of buffs this patch. So Samira got buffed. Her ult no longer can be cancelled, which is really good. It's like Misfortune now. So she no longer, once she gets CC'd and she's ulting, it no longer fizzles out. Garen got a buff, Morgana got a buff, Sureshots in general got a buff. So really good. Sureshots, 4 units, Ashe, Sivir, Samira, and Ezreal. These are the 4, 1 cost, 2 cost, 4 cost, and 5 cost. What are Sureshots? Well, you see the trait over here. Basically, at the start of combat, you're going to get some % of attack damage based off how many Sureshots you have, and then every 4 seconds after that, you'll keep getting that same amount of attack damage. So what does this mean? It's a stall composition. You want to stall out the fights because every 4 seconds, you're going to be getting stronger and stronger. Sureshots is all attack damage, so this means that you're going to want to be mitigating the enemy armor, because armor is what armor is the correspondent to attack damage. So the more armor you have, the less damage you take from attack damage attacks. So this means that you need Last Whisper to reduce the enemy's armor, so you do more attack damage. Last Whisper, as you all know, is bow plus glove. So as you're going to see in the early game, I think it's on the next couple slides on here, starting carousel, you're really going to want either bow or glove in order to make this item. And then countered, basically it's just defenders or backline access. Defenders because it's all armor, so then you are really going to be really tanky against this comp and they won't be able to kill your frontline. Or backline access, kill these Sureshots right off the bat, give them no time to stack up, and finish off the frontline from there. So that's a quick intro to Sureshots. Moving on to the common early game board. So this is basically what your level 4 board is going to look like. This is primarily if you have 2-star Ashe. If you don't have 2-star Ashe, then you could just put a defender instead. If you have Shen. If you don't have Shen, then you could play Lucian. But essentially, for level 4 Sureshot board, you want to be playing 3 Infiniteam plus a Sureshot or plus defender if you have Shen. So we'll start off at the very primary bullets here. The carousel priority, bow into glove into sword. Bow obviously into the Last Whisper, same thing with glove. And then sword, you can make Deathblade, you can make Infinity Edge, you can make Giant Slayer, you can make Hextech Gunblade. The possibilities are endless. Early game, you're going to be wanting to put your items on the 1 and 2 cost Sureshots, so this is Ashe and Sivir, and then you're eventually going to transition this to either Samira or Ezreal. As I mentioned, you want to get Last Whisper as soon as possible. It's a very optimal item in this composition. And the 3 Infiniteams, so most likely in the early game, you're going to be playing Pantheon, Lucian, and Sivir, because these are the easiest units to get. Shen is a 3 cost, so you might not get him right off the bat, but as soon as you have Shen, you want to replace him with Lucian. And what Infiniteam does, if you might be wondering, it's the breakpoints are 3, 5, and 7. So once you put 3 Infiniteam on your team or on your board, you're going to see some random frontline and backline portal. And then what this means is at the start of combat, let's say that this is the portal, right? Or just for simplicity's sake, let's say that this is the frontline portal. I'll show you, it's like a blue portal. Then that means at the start of combat, any Infiniteam unit that starts on that Infiniteam hex is going to spawn an extra copy of them. If it's 3, then it's a 40% copy that does 40% damage. And this copy will have random items equal to the amount of augments you have. So let's say it's the first augment, right? You pick it on 2-1, you only have 1 augment. That means for this stage, stage 2, your copied Infiniteam unit will only have 1 random item. So Infiniteam, really good early game because you get 1 extra item up on everybody else. And that's what happens once you have 3 Infiniteam. So early game, you're most likely going to have Pantheon, Lucian, and Sivir. But once you get Shen, then you drop Lucian and you play Shen instead. A couple things. So Pantheon 2 is better than Shen 1. This bullet, and Ashe and Lucian 2 is better than Sivir 1. Although the unit cost is higher, 2-star units are better than 1-cost units, or 1-star units in this case. Okay, the very last bullet, hero augments regarding Infiniteam. So early game, this Shen Infiniteam, or this Shen hero augment is broken, Recursion Matrix. Basically, it reduces so much damage on your team. It's really good. Time and a half, basically for every, I think 42 attack damage Sivir has. At the end of the round, you get 1 gold per every 42 gold, or 42 attack damage she has. So you can get so much gold every round and really ramp up. And then any Ezreal Infiniteam hero augment is good, not only because of the Ezreal augments, but the fact that you get an Ezreal itself. And we'll be going into that a little bit later into the guide. Final bullet point, once you are playing Shen, then he is defender. So you're going to want to play a defender once Shen is on the board. So that's your early game board. Infiniteam is really good. Put your last whisper on either your Sivir or your Ashe. If both of them are 1-star, then put on Sivir. If Ashe is 2-star, but Sivir is 1-star, then put it on the Ashe. So just play your strongest board. Slam frontline items, so Sunfire Cape, Bramble Vest, Gargoyles, Warmogs, Redemption, anything is good. If you don't have Shen at this point, just put on Pantheon, it's fine. You can always replace it later and put the items on either Shen or Garen. So play your strongest board. This is your early game board. We're going to move on to mid game now. So mid game is a little bit more different. We'll start the first bullet point here. So on 3-2, this is your second augment, right? Look for Infiniteam Heart, Crest, or Crown. This will allow you to play 5 Infiniteam really easy and also fit in Defender. For a quick reminder, Defender affects the whole team as well. So Defender, I think, gives 30 times 2 for defenders, and then it gives 30 for the entire team. I believe these are the right numbers. So this will affect the entire team as well. So don't worry just about like, oh, defenders is just for my front line. It's for everyone as well. So this way you could fit 5 Infiniteam with defender. If you are weak on stage 3, then roll for your 2-cost core units. So in this case, the most feasible ones are like Pantheon and Sivir. You won't always be able to hit Shen 2 on level 6 for a quick roll down. And then the very last thing is you want to splash in Morgana or splash in Rammus. This is fine, just to finish up your board. So this one on the left, this is if you have +1 Infiniteam. So let's say you have an Infinity Heart, you have Infinity Crest or Crown. This is the board you're going to want to play on level 6 3-2. So it's your 5 Infiniteam, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then let's say you have a Crest 5. Once you have 5 Infiniteam, you're now going to get 2 portals. Okay, 2 portals, and one of these portals is going to be in the front line, and I believe the other will always be in the back line. So you're going to have one front and you're going to have one back. For the mid game, your front line, you're going to want to duplicate Shen. And when I duplicate, this means that you put the Infiniteam unit on the Infiniteam frontline portal, so it duplicates and gets that extra item. And then for your backline, you want to duplicate Sivir. Sivir is going to be your main item carry up until either Samira 2 or Ezreal. So this is if you do have +1 Infiniteam and you hit it on the augment or you have a spat. In this case, it's spat plus sword is Infiniteam spat. If you don't have +1, then you're just going to be playing 3 Infiniteam and then just fit in like Sureshots Defender or Morgana / Rammus. So this is the board on the right. Once again, Sivir is your main carry, and you're going to be carrying her. Try to get a 2-star, right? If you're weak, roll for your 2-star units, especially Sivir and Pantheon, until you get to level 7, level 8, where you'll be getting either Samira or Ezreal. So this is how you play your common mid game. Your defender, it can either be a 2-star Rel if you hit it, it could be Riven, even 2-star Wukong or 2-star Poppy is fine, but it has to be some 2-star in order to have a strong front line and help your back line, specifically Sivir, ramp up her attack damage. So this is the mid game. Here is some stats. So Infiniteam right now, I took this picture today. This is from tactics.tools. It's the stats of Infiniteam. They're absolutely insane right now. If you use this website, you'll know that just in general, any placement above 4 is top 4, right? So that's good. It's positive. All of these average placements are all above 4. Infiniteam is performing out of its mind right now. Even 3.37 is the average placement if you get Infinity Heart on 3-2. So Infiniteam really good. And then remember, as I mentioned, these Infiniteam copied units, they will gain items equal to the amount of augments that you have. So that's how the Riot Games really helped it scale into late game. So then your copied units will have 3 full items. It's like having 2 full carries, and it's very good. So common late game boards. Late game, I classify as stage 4+. So the first one here on 4-1, you should always be level 7, right? 4-1, you level 7, and you roll down for your 2 stars. So now, since you're going to be level 7, you have 35% chances to 3 cost. You're going to be wanting to 2-star your Shen, and then looking for 1 Garen, Samira, or TF, Twisted Fate. This will help you create the +1 Infiniteam board down here. As I mentioned, so level 7, you want to play 5 Infiniteam, and your +2 is going to be Garen and Samira. Your Infinity emblem should always be on Garen, as shown in this pick here, because Garen stuns when he casts. So being able to play 2 Garens, that's a double stun, really good CC, really good frontline, and remember, Sureshots is a stall composition, so you want to drag on the fight as long as possible and really ramp up. And then remember, although you might think, okay, well, I mean, technically this is true. Higher cost units perform or are stronger than lower cost units, right? This is widely known. 4 costs objectively are better than 2 costs. However, you have to take the star level into consideration as well, right? So although Sivir is a 2 cost and Samira is a 4 cost, a 2-star Sivir is better than a 1-star Samira. So until you have a 2-star Samira or even an Ezreal, then keep your items on your Sivir and don't sell it yet. So this is the board. If you do have your +1 Infiniteam, in this case, let's say Infiniteam Crest, right? Or even Infiniteam Spatula is the same thing. You put on the Garen, and your 5 now become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to get 2 portals. Let's say the first portal, I'll change the color here. Say the first portal is on the Garen, so you're duplicating the Garen. The second one is on the Sivir, you're duplicating the Sivir. You now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You now have like 9 units on your board. Plenty of items, and it is really good mid game. So this is what you do if you have the +1. If you don't have the +1, then you don't get the luxury of that extra unit. In this case, it's Morgana. So you'd have to take away Morgana and play Lucian instead. So now it becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it's not such a big deal. You might be thinking, oh, I lose Morgana, or I lose Rammus, or I lose a Relaying Soul. It's not a big deal, right? Yeah, technically that on its own is not a big deal, but it's the fact that you no longer have the Infiniteam spat on Garen, and you don't get that Garen duplicate and that double stun. So that's why having that 5 Infiniteam with Garen being that Infiniteam is really good. So this is more like at this primary part of stage 4. We're going to talk about final boards now. So 7 Infiniteam is always the goal. You get, I'll go back to the slide where it shows Infiniteam. With 7 Infiniteam, you still only get 2 portals. However, now your copies are 90% health and 90% damage. So it's essentially double fawn. You get a free double Force of Nature. You get 2 free units, and not only that, they each get 3 items each. So that's absolutely insane. Always late game, you're always going to be duplicating Garen and Ezreal. And Ezreal hero augments, as mentioned, OP. They're over here. You have your carry, which is essentially extra damage and a Merlin Omcon. And the support is every time you field or every round that you have Ezreal on your board, you gain 8 experience points. And 8 is a lot. That's basically you gain 8 gold every round that you can field. Well, not technically. This is just some comparison, but you get to 8 experience points every round that you have Ezreal on your board. So if oh, I don't actually remember the complete the table, but there is a certain, I think it's silver. If it goes silver, it's a 100% chance for hero, something like that. I think it is silver. And then since it's 100% hero as your last one, you have a chance of getting Ezreal. So you'll know that, oh, I have a really high chance, or I have a 100% chance of getting hero augment. Make sure you have Infiniteam and Sureshots on your board, and then you'll be able to get Ezreal and play 7 Infiniteam if you have that crest. So on the left here, this is if you do have your +1 Infiniteam and Ezreal. So these are the 2 conditions. This is going to be your board, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're playing all of the Infiniteams, and you have Garen with the Infiniteam spat, and then you also, your extra unit is the Samira for Sureshot. As I mentioned earlier, Sivir 2 is better than Samira 1. However, this is no longer the case. So Sivir 2 is not better than Ezreal. So as soon as you have Ezreal, sell your Sivir, put the items on Ezreal, and duplicate your Ezreal. That is what to go by. And then remember, frontline items, anything is fine from, as I mentioned in early game, Bramblevest, Sunfire Cape, Redemption, Gargoyle Stoneplate, Dragon Claw, that's fine. So that's if 2 conditions. One, you have that +1 Infiniteam, and you have the Ezreal to play 7 Infiniteam. You take your top 4, and you exit the game with a smile. If you don't have your +1 Infiniteam and you don't have Ezreal, then you basically just do Samira carry. In this case, you could even drop 1, 2, and play Wukong and either Jax or Leona. Most of the time Jax. You can't play Draven because you'll be too aced. And then you could just do Garen Prime or Garen Mecha Prime 2-star frontline carry as well. So that's what you could do. If not, just play 5 Infiniteam Samira carry. But this is on the condition that you don't have your +1 and you don't have Ezreal. Okay, this is your final board. If you get to this point, you're most likely going to be top 4ing if you have good items, which is basically Last Whisper plus frontline items. And pretty good stuff from there. So pretty OP comp. You might be thinking, wow, Max is so good. I'm seeing relatively forceable. I know how to play the early, mid, and late games. Now, how do we counter it? Well, very easy counters actually. Number 1 is defenders. As I mentioned, Sureshots, attack damage mitigated by armor. So if you're playing defender comp and you have tons of armor on your board, then the enemy Sureshots will not be able to get through it. Number 2 is, I'll put a star here. This is basically like the number 1 counter, is Hacker. Hacker is essentially assassin. You send 1 unit to the backline, and Sureshots, it's a stall comp, right? So you want to drag out the fight, and Hacker sends it to the back and kills the enemy carry right away. So you could either be rerolling Hacker Camille, Hacker Warwick, Gnar, Draven. Any of this will just send it to the backline, and it will kill the enemy Sureshots, and game over from there. The final thing is, if you same side Anima Misfortune, she will always target the largest clump. And if you same side her, so let's say this is your board, right? Nice little drawing here. Oh, this is your board. Let's say the enemy has Ezreal and Samira, and then like they're Garen in the front, right? If you place Misfortune on this side, she's going to be attacking like this, and it's just gonna hit the Garen and it'll block all the damage. But with the same side Misfortune, erasing all this, same side Misfortune targets the biggest clump, and she will now attack like this and bypass the Garen. So same side Anima Misfortune, so either 7 Anima or 5 Anima is also a really good counter to Sureshots. Last but not least is just instantly bursting them. The same concept, don't give Sureshots any time to scale. So either bursted by Misfortune or Mordekaiser, anything along those facts. Okay, so this is the basically how to counter Sureshots. A little more into Hacker. So Infiniteam portals will always be the same once for each individual game. So what does this mean? It means from game to game they could be in different spots, but once you get into a game, the portals will always be the same each round, and that is for everyone, right? So let's say this is your board. This is the front line one, this is like the back line one. It will be like this every round of that game for every person. So now this means that if you're a Hacker player, right? Let me just switch this around. So pretend this is like the top board, right? And then now I need a little bit more space. This is the top board. They have their frontline portal and then their backline portal. And then this is your board. You're playing Hacker. You know that you can just keep your Hacker on the left side. And this will do one of 2 things. It'll either force the enemy to like lose their Infiniteam value by like putting their like Ezreal or whatever on the other side and just losing value, or you just jump on them and kill them right away. So that's why Hacker is really good playing into Infiniteam. You know where the portal is going to be, and you can either force them to lose value or kill them right away. So that's why Hacker is one of the biggest, if not the biggest counter to Sureshots. So that has been everything. That is the guide on Sureshots. A quick recap, early game, you're going to be wanting to go bow, glove into sword, soul priority, Last Whisper ASAP, playing the items on Ashe and Sivir, and you are going to be playing 3 Infiniteam. Mid game, you're going to try to get 5 Infiniteam. This is either through the help of some Infiniteam Heart, Crest, or Crown, and roll down on 3-2 for your 2 stars, especially Sivir. Sivir is your main one, and remember Sivir 2 is better than Samira 1. This is going to be your mid game. If you have an extra unit that you can play, then play either Morgana or Rammus. And then late game, so once 4-1 has happened, 4-1 you go level 7, and now you're trying to also play 5 Infiniteam, but trying to 2-star your Shen, get a Garen, get a Samira, get a Twisted Fate, and Infiniteam emblem always goes on Garen. Duplicate Garen, you get double the stun, double the happiness. Then last but not least, you find that Ezreal, you play 7 Infiniteam, you duplicate Garen and Ezreal, put the items on Ezreal, and he gets his duplicate, and he will attack the entire board along with his copy, and it's plenty of AoE and plenty of damage. So that has been today's masterclass. We are now entering into our Q&A.